3, 2, 1. Yo, what it is, YouTube? It's your boy Nixie coming back with another bullseye of a tutorial here today on the channel. I wanted to talk about how you can go about, using something like bus processing to enhance your music. So this is going to be a video that's a little bit different, talking about the mindset of how I like to build up my master fader chain. How do I pick my 2-bus chain? How do I pick my EQ and my compressor and my saturator? So let's get right into it. Let's get on the grind. Let's not waste no time. Let's see what gems we can find. All right, so we have the plugin CLA MixDown here, but I'm gonna play the song really quickly to see what we're working with.
I'ma just follow my dreams, yeah. Every week I'm in the stool. I know they ain't believe in me, but I'ma show them with the truth. Put a 3-5 in the wood, might take a perky or two. Babe, don't be worried about me, I'm good. I'm getting that bread as I should. I'ma just follow my dreams, yeah. Every week I'm in the stool. I know they ain't believe in me, but I'ma show them with the truth. Chico, geeking all night out the boot. My girl telling me it ain't cute, but she know I'm gonna do what I do. Said I changed, but I lied, it ain't true. I got a monkey on my back. I got a baddie on my lap. I got a perky in my pocket. When she ain't looking, I'ma pop. She gon' love me as I am, cause regardless I'm the man. I just hope she understand. I'm on a mission to the bank.
Dope thing about the CLA MixDown is essentially what it is this Chris Lorge Algae's 2-bus chain. But I want to show you guys how you can get your own 2-bus chain. Yeah, use something that works for you, custom tailored. I want to give you the mindset. I want to show you how to put your left leg in front of your right leg so that you can actually stand up by yourself and make your own mixing decisions. That will make you a way better engineer than me just be like, oh, let me show you this real quick. So cool thing about Chris Lorge Algae, when I didn't know how to mix like that, I use this plugin a lot because it just sounds good. So usually what I do is I hit the in button and I just make sure that I'm not clipping the plugin. You know what I mean? I'm not going over kind of like the red and everything like that, because it will start to get a little bit of funny. But yeah, first of all, what I do is I play around with the input and make sure I'm just hitting somewhere around the 0 line, and whatever I take out, I put back in and everything like that. But pretty much what you have right here is the bass and treble. That essentially is kind of like a pull tech. And a pull tech is a very, very good EQ for the master fader. How would you go about selecting your EQ for a master fader? Well, first of all, you need to figure out what's the flavor of the music. The music is going to tell you what type of mastering EQ you should use. Generally, I do like pull techs myself because they have a little bit of brightness. With the modern rap music right now, we're going with a little bit of the brightness. And I feel like a great way of getting brightness without getting harshness, because when you use master EQ, you're gonna be boosting up the whole mix, is using something like a pull tech. Me personally, I like to use a pull tech without even doing the EQ. I just like to open it and let my mix run through it. So here's an example of that.
I'ma just follow my dreams, yeah. Every week I'm in the stool. I know they ain't believe in me, but I'ma show them with the truth. Put a 3-5 in the wood, might take a perky or two. Babe, don't be worried about me, I'm good. I'm getting that bread as I should. I'ma just follow my dreams, yeah. Every week I'm in the stool. I know they ain't believe in me, but I'ma show them with the truth. Chico, geeking all night out the boot. My girl telling me it ain't cute, but she know I'm gonna do what I do. Said I changed, but I lied, it ain't true. I got him up.
Understanding something like a pull tech. What does a pull tech do? The tubes, they add brightness, and they also add a little bit of that mid-range push. Add a little saturation to the mid-range, which kind of makes you perceive the vocal as a little bit more forward. There's also different types of EQs, like something like the TG mastering change is another dope EQ. It kind of has like a really, really nice tone to it. So understanding EQ, like what do you want to get out of it? If you want brightness, go with something like a pull tech. Maybe sometimes you can even use something like a mag EQ on your master fader. But before you use an EQ, ask yourself, what do I want out of this EQ? Before you get in your car and you just start driving up and down the street, ask yourself, where the hell do I want to go? You put where you want to go in the GPS before you start driving, right? I'd hope you do that, right? So understanding the pull tech, look at this. On the CLA mixdown, you have bass and treble, right? So with the pull tech, essentially this is very, very simple. You have something like this where these three controls control the low end, and the low end is shaped like this, you know. So the shapes of the EQ shapes on the pull tech are a little different. You see, you have something like a low shelf, which is just boosts the whole booty. It's boosting up everything on that booty of the track. And for rap music, that might not always be appropriate because the low end is already so huge, right? So that's the thing about the pull tech. When you do a low shelf, you're literally boosting everything, even the sub. And sometimes if you got too much sub, it's gonna make your limiter start working harder and your whole mix gonna sound smaller. So you gotta understand the EQ. Then you have the top end part of a pull tech, which is these three triangles like this. So that's how I remember it. Triangles, you know, this triangle, and then this is like, you know, connected with that. But look, this is a bell though. You see how this one actually starts to let you adjust how wide the Q is, how open or closed is that door, you know what I mean? So with you know, the higher part of something like a pull tech, it's more of a bell shape, you know what I mean? It's a bell shape like this, you know what I mean? So if you wanted to make it a little bit wider, you'd put yourself in the situation where, you know, you maybe might start boosting not only the vocal, but also, you know, maybe the hi-hats and all that stuff like that. So that's something you should be aware of. Next thing about when you're picking your master, you know, mastering chain is what about the compressor? You know, people say you got to use a compressor to glue your mix. You got to use a. I really feel like it's not just the compressor that glues a mix, it's the whole entire mindset. You feel me? Like making sure your reverb is appropriate, making sure your delay is appropriate, making sure you got the right microphone for your voice. Like all of that stuff will glue things together. You can control that. You feel me? So on the CLA mixdown, you have a bus compressor right here, which number one is a SSL bus compressor. But I think that, you know, a guy like CLA, he goes back and forth between his SSL bus compressor, and then he also has something like a Focusrite compressor, Focusrite Red compressor. So this is also kind of related to something like a SSL bus compressor because it's a VCA compressor, right? So with the VCA, it's a voltage controlled amplifier. That means that pretty much this one is a little bit snappy, you know. So there's different types of compressors. There's a tube compressor, which is a Fairchild. You have a VCA compressor like the one in the SSL console or the Focusrite Red. You also have a diode bridge compressors, like I'm gonna show y'all on the TG mastering chain. But this is pretty much CLA's mixed bus processing, right? This works for him, but it might not work for you. So it's easy, you know, it's easy for you to understand. Like, okay, if this worked for him, there's a reason why he's picking it because of the type of music that he's making, the type of sound that he's going for. So if you want something that sounds juicy and saucy and mainstream and pro on your master fader, then you gotta pick something that works for you. Just because you see Michael Jordan wearing a size 13 Jordans on the basketball court, if you go to Foot Locker, that don't mean that if you put that same size shoe, it's gonna fit on you, and that doesn't mean that it's gonna make you play like him. So that's what you gotta understand as mixing. This shit is not foreign. You damn well know if you go to Foot Locker, you're not about to be buying them big ass shoes because they don't fit you. So don't use the same bus processing as somebody like CLA just because. If it works for you, congratulations. But if it don't force yourself to use it because of the next man, all right? That's what I'm trying to get my point off across here today. Now let's go back over here. So that's what the bus compressor is. So I got to understand different types of compressors, right? I like this bus compressor on the CLA because the SSLG bus compressor, for the most part, it kind of works on our genre of, you know, rap music, rock and roll, modern music, because it just is really snappy and really responsive.
I'ma just follow my dreams, yeah. Every week I'm in the stool. I know they ain't believe in me, but I'ma show them with the truth. Put a 3-5 in the wood, might take a perky or two. They don't be worried about me, I'm good. I'm getting that bread as I should. I'ma just follow my dreams, yeah. Every week I'm in the stool. I know they ain't believe.
Most important thing to understand about with a bus compressor is the low end. That's the very first thing you need to listen to when you're picking a bus compressor for your mastering chain. Listen to the low end. Listen to the booty. The booty is going to tell you what you got to do, okay? The low end. If you start to feel like your kick and your bass are starting to become like Michael Phelps underwater jumbled up, then that's a situation where it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You got to take off the bus compressor because it's choking your low end. That's your power. That's the feeling. That's the emotion. That's the heart. That's the whack of the song. And you're going to need that for our genre, which is rap music. Okay. The beautiful thing about the CLA bus compressor is streamlined. The mixdown is streamlined. Everything's in front of you. You just click gain reduction, and I never hit a bus compressor more than 1 to 2 dB. But if I was making my own decisions, which is what you should be doing, I would pick something for this song like a 33609. And that's because I'm using my ears to make that decision. So this one is a little bit better because you do have a sidechain filter. So the sidechain filter, it will take its eyes off the booty. It will not be looking at the low end like that anymore. You know what I mean? So it will be a little bit of cleaner compression that's reacting to more of the mid-range. Even though it says a sidechain filter, the low end is still going to get compressed. It's just the fact that the compressor is not looking at the low end. So when you see sidechain filter, it's still wideband compressor. Everything is still getting compressed. It's just not looking at the low end anymore.
I'ma just follow my dreams, yeah. Every week I'm in the stool. I know they ain't believing me, but I'ma show them we the truth. Put a 3-5 in the wood, might take a perky or two. Babe, don't be worried about me, I'm good. I'm getting that bread as I should. I'ma just follow my dreams, yeah. Every week I'm in the stool. I know they ain't believing me, but I'ma show them we the truth. Chico, geeking all night out the boot. My girl telling me it ain't cute, but she know I'm gonna do what I do. Said I changed, but
Pay attention when you audition bus compressors. Listen to the low and how the shape of it. I feel like the 33609 is giving me a little bit of more pointiness with the kick. So that's the very first thing I listen to. All right, and the last thing I wanted to talk about is using something like an Abbey Road TG mastering compressor. Abbey Road TG mastering chain. There we go, the chain. Yeah. So I love this one because it has like a spreader on it. Sometimes you might want to use a stereo widener on your master fader because it will add a little bit of width. But I always use something like this very moderately. I hate using something like an S1 stereo imager because it actually uses phase. So it's actually just like it's taking like the peanut butter and it's smearing it all over the bread. You feel me? Like that. You could have a very smeared sounding mix. That's not what you want, right? But I like to use something like this because you get a little bit of saturation, which is a little tape effect. Then you also get a little bit of the EQ, you get the compression, everything is there. So this is a dope ass plugin to use. But understanding that this is diode bridge topology, and because it's a different type of processing, like it's diode, one is VCA, another one diode, the Pultec is a tube. Understanding those different types of things, it will produce a different type of sound. You know what I mean? And that's what the CLA MixDown gives us. You have the drive, how hard you want to hit it. Back in the days when that boy CLA, to this day, he has his console, they have a certain way where they pushing the faders in the gain stage and it's hitting the whole console that is giving a sound. So this is your saturation, you know what I mean? So that's also a thing that might be important for your master fader too, is adding a little bit of saturation.
ain't believing me, but I'ma show them we the truth. Put a 3-5 in the wood, might take a perky or two. Babe, don't be worried about me, I'm good. I'm getting that bread as I should. I'ma just follow my dreams, yeah. Every week I'm in the stool. I know they ain't believing me, but I'ma show them we the truth. Chico, geeking all night out the boot. My girl telling me it ain't cute, but she know I'm gonna do what I do. Said I changed, but I lied, it ain't.
Using a couple different types. I'm using this not the filters, but the presence knob. Oh my God, I love the presence knob. It helps the vocal pop out, right? That's boosting somewhere around the Ks frequencies, the 3, 4, 5 Ks. And then after that, using a little bit of these, these shapes. This has very dope shapes because you have the low shelf, the high shelf. We know what those look like, but then we have bells that are all different sizes, right? So this is a pretty wide bell, a blunt bell. This is not that type of blunt. I'm talking about a medium bell, and this is a small bell, but these are all small bells, all right? These are all different types of bells, right? And I like this one a lot because it's all streamlined. This is diode bridge, everything, and this is diode bridge, so sometimes you might want to pick a tube compressor and a tube EQ, and that in itself will glue your mix without you doing no compression, because you understand the different types of plugins, and that, okay, these two plugins are related, Sally is related to Sam, so I should put them together in the same group because they're going to work together better. So that's pretty much the end of the video that I have here today. I hope you guys were able to learn something like how to make your own decisions, how to get your own motion for your master fader so you can have your music sounding unique, because that's what's going to help you blow. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Drop more videos, ideas down below. Appreciate y'all now. Peace.